Hi and welcome everyone. I am Friar Tuck and this is my epoch. Okay, so I'm running a little bit late on my Tuesday video. I actually did a recording. I just want to see if I could do a better recording. If you see this was better than what my original topic was. But there's going to be some things that are coming down. So I put a poll out because I wanted to see if you guys would watch it and what you guys would say the reason why you're here, because I have been all of homeless, classified as homeless. I have been a nomad. I have talked about prepping and trails and migrating and all these different things. And so the top two categories were homeless issues and the bigger picture. I will start doing some bigger picture videos here very shortly for those of you that like those type of videos, because if you like it, that means other people like it. I want to grow this channel into something that is going to be reasonable. So what today's topic is going to be talking about is it's the things surrounding homelessness. What causes it? So here's some topics. How to start a business with no money. Okay, because if you are a prepper and you are going to have to start from scratch because you have to migrate, you have to bug out or something like that, you need to know how to start a business with no money. It's something that I've done, and I ran a successful business for quite some time using that model, and I can show you guys something like that. You're homeless, now what? And I think this is what has really inspired the fact that I'm going to start doing stories. I've been off and on the streets for the last 25 years. A lot has changed since the pandemic. With the pandemic, some of the things that have changed is that there's a lot more funding because a lot more people were displaced. They just don't talk about it. Wall Street Journal just did an article where there is an explosion of homelessness. Either that or they're just finding ways to document more homeless. I think it's a combination of both. But homelessness is exploding, especially with high rent prices. People got stuck, people got sick, people lost a lot of stuff. I've met quite a few people out here that have lost their, wife and child, or a combination of one of those two to COVID, and just kind of the way it devastated them. It was, they kind of had to learn a new way of life, and they've all. That's what it was like in Chattanooga, but here, it seems like people just went from their mom's basement to prison to a shelter. It sounds bad, but I've watched the mentality, because going over to Kentucky, on the Kentucky side, I've gone into shelter because of what I have on me, but I don't want to be so dependent on a shelter that if I don't get in, that I'm without because I'm not prepared. And this is the preppers' mentality within the homeless community, is that the smart ones, the ones that survive, the ones that do it long term, is that they learn how to adapt, how to make their own money on their own without relying on the system. That means getting into the community. That means developing relationships within the homeless community, instead of looking at them as people who are beneath you because you're out here on circumstance. They're all whatever. Get to know some of them before you start judging them, because there's a lot of people out here for a lot of different reasons. I remember the last time I saw an explosion of homelessness was right around the time I made it to San Francisco. So it was like 2003, 2004, and it was a bunch of young kids that all came out, and that was because of the ADHD medicine that went on. A lot of those kids, because they became aggressive, because they were given something that they weren't supposed to, were kicked out of their homes, and now they're your everyday meth addict that you see around here. Again, they were given the wrong thing, and therefore it created long-term harm. And see, this is what the homeless are. I mean, when you get dispossessed and you lose everything, that means the system has ground you up so much that you are unable to kind of get your shit together. Okay, so some other things. Homeless population on the rise, okay? Effects of post-pandemic resources drying up, talking about that. Homeless and hungry, homeless encampments, tiny home community. That's going to be some stuff that's over long term. But top search that people are searching for is homeless prevention, public housing, impact of homelessness, and children. So, children are a big factor out here, but there was a lady I saw a few days ago. She was out with her child. It was her first time being homeless. She was staying with family. Family kicked her out. That's generally the story where it starts. It is something along that lines. You kind of go to hang out with family because it's your last-ditch effort. You have no more people to couch surf on, and it's all you got left. And then after that, if you burn that bridge, well then, you end up out here. And a lot of that has to do with ego, anger, resentment, not letting go of things, stuff like that. And anybody that's out here, myself included, is guilty of this at one point or another, whether we're doing it now or we did it in the past. This is part of what brings you out here, okay? Is that you have burned every bridge. And so if you know that this is coming, you could take your last little bit of money while you have a shelter over your head and stuff like that, and do two things to prevent yourself from being homeless. Two simple things. One is get into the digital marketplace. At least set a foundation and start, getting things together so that should it happen, that you at least have something to not only generate revenue, but something to build on so that this is only temporary instead of permanent. Okay? The other thing is getting the appropriate gear for the area in which you're going to be. You want to make sure that you go out with at least $100 in your pocket when you leave. And not only that, because it's gonna take you a minute to figure the thing out. Even when I got here with like almost $100 in my pocket, and that that was so that I could figure out the landscape and not keel over or whatever, because I didn't know where food was, I didn't know where anything was. I just kind of got to the city and I said, all right, I'll figure it out from here. I expected the bus station to be downtown, and it's on the outskirts of town, so I had to get like a 5-mile ride into town just to get close to the closest service, and it took me days to figure all this stuff out. And so living on that little bit of money while you come out and kind of get your foundation, that is ideal. Okay, so, and because the thing is you want to have your gear, you want to have at least, close to $100 in your pocket, and you want to have a financial foundation. If you come out here, if you know that it's coming, and you start getting that prepared now, as a prepper, as a human being, as somebody who's looking at what's going on, this whole economic collapse, they're calling it worse than the Great Depression. And I think we had like 25% unemployment. So we could have as much as, 30+% unemployment. Plus, what about raising rates and businesses going out, because that's part of the stuff that's going on. I mean, you got so much, you've got this perfect storm brewing, and there is a certain segment of society that is going to get ground up by this as it goes down the proverbial drain. You see that cyclone and it goes down the proverbial drain, and then it goes, okay, well, you're the bottom of that cyclone that starts that cyclone, and then it just trickles up. In the same way that they have trickle down economics, you have trickle up destruction. It's top down, bottom up. Okay, and for it's just that's how you get you cannot prevent the inevitable. Okay, because there are certain circumstances which is going to cause a lot of housies like yourself to come outside, and when you guys come outside, you are going to have to figure certain things out. And like I said, this will help you as long as you're willing to get into the homeless community, be part of the homeless community, and interact with them just for resources. You don't have to partake in all the pleasantries. I don't. I go in and I eat, and I go in and, I get my stuff, because that, like I've told you guys before, if you don't do something, you're not trusted. Okay, that's kind of the way it is out here. That's why I said during the live stream that it's a creed. Go look up the word creed, a non-religious creed. Okay, It is a certain culture, a certain way of living, and that is exactly what being in the proverbial classified homeless community. Okay, there are different types of homeless. So calling us homeless is one thing. Yeah, we're without a home. All right, fine. The homeless, I'll accept that. But there are those of us that travel, those of us that are snowbirds. There are those of us that do a lot of under the table work. There are those of us that have other hustles that are going on that are not part of the documented world. And there is always going to be like that. The higher taxes get, the higher cost of living gets, the higher anything like that. Look at what happened in France. Okay, 25 to 30% of their economy is underground because of high taxes, and you can't even get a job until you're 28, so you have to work in the underground market to begin with. Okay, so at least it was like that 10, 15 years ago. I don't know if it's still like that. I wouldn't be surprised considering what's going on over there. Okay, and this is what we are going to see long term. So if you don't get yourself pre-positioned now for just to be able to brace for impact and then survive the storm, then if you're in a city, in an urban environment, this is something that is important. If you're in a rural environment, you need to be looking at definitely traveling, because the way that they're moving resources around is where they want to have these mega cities. That's where the abundance of resources are, because it's going to get word out that, hey, you can come here, and and so on and so forth, because they've got a lot of food, they got everything else like that. So through design, we're being moved into certain areas so that this has always been the MO when it comes to environmentalism. It started in the 30s with the Ford Foundation, but it just they were able to do what they were able to do as far as get us to lower our family size by creating public policy, by destroying the family, by making it less suitable to have children. So therefore, that is the reason why we are in a negative birth decline. We're only doing 1.25 to 1.5, okay? So anyways, you guys know how to help the channel. I hope that this helped you. These are some of the topics that I'm going to be doing. You know how to contribute to the channel other than just leaving a like, a subscribe, hitting that bell notification, share. Everything else is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.